Good evening, and my name's Otene Rewati, and I work for Auckland Council as a Senior Advisor Māori Outcomes, and today it's my privilege to begin this session in the way that we begin things at Council, and with a blessing, and just some thoughts around that. So there's a saying in Māoridom, "Ma te rongo ka mohio, ma te mohio ka marama, ma te marama ka matau, ma te matau ka ora." What does that mean? I can hear you saying. Through perception comes awareness. Through awareness comes understanding. Through understanding comes knowledge. Through knowledge comes well-being. And as we come to have this conversation this evening, we have another saying in Māoridom that goes, "Ko te kai o te rangatira I kōrero." The language of chiefs is about talking to each other. So if you want to be someone that leads people, you need to be talking to others. Can't do it by just talking to yourself. So this evening, as we come to hear this conversation, I'll just open it up with a blessing today. So the blessing is about the baskets of knowledge. So we have, legend tells us that Tāne ascended to the heavens to bring back 3 baskets of knowledge for mankind. So I paraphrase that to be the baskets of the knowledge of yesterday, the baskets of the knowledge of today, and the baskets of knowledge for the future. So that mankind may develop and look after itself, really. So without much more ado, I will say this blessing for us. Kei noi tātou, let us. Tēnei au, ko te hokai nei I taku tapu wai. Ko te hokai nuku, ko te hokai rangi, ko te hokai ā. Tō tupuna a tāne nui arangi. I pikitia ai ki ngā rangi tū hāhā, ki te tihi o na manono. I roko hinga tū rā, ko I o matua kore ana ke. I riru iho ana nā kete o te wānanga. Ko te kete tuauri, ko te kete tuatea, ko te kete aranui. Ka tiri a ka paupau a ke a papatū nuku, ka puta te ira tangata, ki te whai au, ki te au marama. Tūturu whakamaua ki a tīna, haumi e hui e, tai ki e. No reira, i ngā mana, i ngā reo, rauranga tirama, hara mai, nau mai, whakatau mai, I roto o tēnei whare, he whare kōrero mā tātou, I roto o tēnei pō. Aha ko te iti o tēnei rangi, ka nui te mihi ki a koutou. Welcome to this session tonight, Auckland Conversation, and even though it's the shortest day, a big welcome to us all. No reira, huri no tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora, and thank you for that lovely mihi. Good evening, everybody. My name is Corin Dan. Tēnā koutou. Welcome. I'll be facilitating this conversation this evening. I love the fact that it's called a conversation because it is a chance for you guys to interact and really do this together. Now, Auckland Conversations provides an opportunity to inspire and stimulate your thinking about the challenges facing Auckland. Tonight, we will welcome international sustainability expert Matt Peterson, who I've had the pleasure of hearing from yesterday at the Green Building Council's summit, and it was fantastic. That is going to be a real treat. It is a chance really to discuss the challenges we face as a city, as a country, about getting climate ready and what it could mean for this city if we do not do it, and if we do not do it fast enough. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm totally impressed by this turnout. I would never have believed someone would suggest to me that this many people would come out on the shortest night of the year to hear a speech on climate change, and I do believe it's a sign that consciousness around climate change and climate issues is growing, and that's got to be encouraging. So thank you very much for joining us. There is also people watching online via the Auckland Conversations website, so welcome to them too. I know you're out there and you will be enjoying this. A few housekeeping notes. First and foremost, if a baby arrives, I will keep you posted. I've got a highly charged smartphone here with 1,000 alerts on it. It'll be buzzing like crazy. I'm sure yours probably will be as well. Now, in the unlikely event of an emergency, an alarm will sound and will be directed out of the building by the ushers. Bathrooms are located outside of the upper NZI, downstairs in the main foyer of Aotea. And finally, keep the mobiles on silent. I'm sure the alerts will still come through. Now, some thanks quickly for the sponsors tonight. To the New Zealand Green Building Council, who have collaborated with Auckland Conversation on this. And our thanks to our Auckland partner, South Base Construction, our design partner, Resine, and all our program supporters. Right, this is how it's going to run. The format for tonight will be a keynote speech from Matt, who is the CEO at Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator, and many, many other things. I'll brief you on him shortly. Followed by a discussion with our panellists. You'll see the chairs there. And then we will open up the floor for questions as part of that discussion. And we're also using Slido, which was new to me yesterday at the conference, but is a great tool. It's an interactive tool that allows people who perhaps don't want to stand up and ask a question, can go to the Slido website, and you can then ask your question via that. It's pretty easy to use. You don't need an app. You just go to Slido on your browser, and you'll see that you can just put in the hashtag green code, and then it's really easy. A little box will pop up. You can put in your question. They will be collated by somebody else somewhere, and then they'll pop through, and I can relay them through to the panel. I strongly recommend you do it. It's an excellent way to get some questions through. Now, we also, but if you do feel like standing up and asking a question, there will be microphones available as well. We also welcome you to tweet in terms of the social media. Keep it coming. So you can hashtag that, hashtag AKL Conversations. So if you're out there watching in the Twitter sphere or on the internet, do get involved and let us know what you think. We are always trying to ensure, of course, that Auckland Conversation events are inclusive and accessible. Do speak up, get involved, and tell us what you're thinking tonight. So, on to the conversation topic. It's a big one. How climate ready are we? Auckland and New Zealand is clearly a highly desirable destination. It is pretty much clean and green, maybe not as much as we sometimes like to think, but certainly by world standards. We make money here from sending rockets into space. We create movies here. We're doing a lot of things very well, and we see ourselves as fun and fair. But how true is our perception of being green, innovative, and fair? And are we really ready for climate change, or are we in for a big surprise? Tonight we're going to dive into this complex topic with the aim that we all walk away a little bit more informed, a bit more connected, and a bit more inspired to act if we want to. And that gives me the chance now to introduce Councillor Chris Darby, who would like to come up and give a formal welcome.
Tēnā koutou katoa, welcome everybody. Ngā mihi Otini, where did he go? For your welcome on behalf of Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei, and I acknowledge the hapu there. Greetings to you all. It's the longest winter night. We often get confused, don't we? The shortest day, longest night, but it is going to be the longest night. And I understand that the solstice is at 10:27 tonight. Get ready for it. You might have a baby at the same time. Hey, thanks for coming out tonight. I do want to acknowledge my councillor colleague, Ross Clough, who chairs Finance, who's here tonight, and we've just had an announcement from Council this afternoon, is related to today. We've just lodged, had accepted on the market $200 million of council green bonds, our very first green bond. First green bond in the nation, and the market just swallowed it in 3 days, and they want more. So Ross's work in behind that, and the whole of the council. Hey, thanks for coming out tonight. Thank you. Also, there's a number of local board members here as well, so thank you for coming along, and they all make up our Auckland Council. So the discussion tonight, and Matt's going to be the main act leading this, of course, and we'll hear from him soon. Auckland, ? Are we exposed? We sure are. And the other part of that question is the trust and consequences, aspirations of a climate-ready city, Auckland. So we're here tonight all because we do care. And in some way, we all care about the future of Auckland. We care about the transport choices that we might have now and in the future, the quality and supply of housing, the health of our environment, and the aspirations we have for a climate change ready city, and how we can prepare ourselves for the impacts of severe weather events on our properties, communities and environment, and a lot more than the change in the weather. And I'm sure Matt will be referring to that. Climate change is no longer something that's breathing down our necks. It's not something that's coming. It's not on someone else's horizon. It's right here now. And climate change is very real every day that we live our lives from now and into the future. It affects us all, but particularly it affects the most vulnerable. The benefits of action look promising on paper, but the truth is that we are still early on in the path to a cleaner, safer and more equitable climate change prepared Auckland, very early on. Now, sitting on our backsides, on the good old gluteus maximus, that is no longer an option. And inertia, that raises even more serious risk. So this will affect not only our infrastructure, as we often is highlighted to us, it not only affects the environment, it could lead to severe population health impacts. And I think we might be hearing about that too. We are working with government, and we have to do this together. We work with community as well, research institutes, universities, and together we need to lead the way on finding tangible solutions. We can start with transport, and we are. Energy, waste, green infrastructure, and urban regeneration, critical to Auckland. We are in the process of building rapidly now, or at least planning rapidly and about to build rapidly, a 21st century worthy public transport system with rapid transit and walking and cycling at its core. And the Auckland Transport Alignment Project with government has brought us together there to assemble a $28 billion package over 10 years with investments like City to Mangere Light Rail, the Eastern Busway, a bus priority program that you've never seen before, lots of improvements there, rail electrification to Pukekohe, and additional trains and track upgrades. And of course, completion of the City Rail Link underway, and a massive refocus on walking and cycling. It is going to be a shape-shifting 10 years ahead for Auckland. There have been and will be, and we all at Council, we must fess up to this, there have been missteps along the way, and there will be more missteps along the way. We are going to make some errors along this path to being climate ready Auckland, and we have to acknowledge that we will make some missteps. For example, nowhere in the ATAP document, the much lauded ATAP document, the Auckland Transport Alignment Project document, did the words climate change appear. They weren't, if you do a word search, it's not there. We've covered our bases, of course, with the Regional Land Transport Plan, just confirmed yesterday at the Auckland Transport Board, and there it is solidly embedded, and we need to and must ensure a continued and prioritised focus with a coherent plan of action going forward. So we've got some challenges here. We've got Auckland's transport network is the biggest source of emissions. For Auckland, that is. The nation is different. And we've heard from Aucklanders time and time again that the biggest challenge in Auckland is transport, and hot on its heels, of course, and probably right alongside, is the supply of housing and the quality of housing. Now, we're on our way to delivering some of those transport solutions, further framed by yesterday's confirmed Regional Land Transport Plan. We're beginning to invest in clean energy, at a local level, and we're working in partnership with entities like Vector and Entrust, with solar technology in schools, Marais, and you've seen the illumination of the Auckland Harbour Bridge as well, with solar generated from the Wynyard Quarter. We are making big inroads in walking and cycling And as I term it, it's becoming just everyday transport for everyday people, just mainstream mode of movement around our city. Nothing too extreme about it. We've invested about $200 million in the last 3 years, and we've built kilometres of new cycleways, and we're getting to separate more, and we've increased cycle trips into the city centre via Upper Queen Street, just that section alone, by over 400% since 2013. And we've added about 52,000 new people getting on the saddle and since in 2017 alone, and that's enough, if you can picture it, enough to outsell Adele at Mount Smart. So more's on the way, and I'm promising you that with the confirmation of the Regional Land Transport Plan yesterday. One dear to my heart that I've been working on for far too long, it's eaten up a decade of my life, is Skypath and Seapath, and hopefully I'll be riding that, and you'll be riding that in the summer of 21. So look, lots happening there. We're future-proofing and greening our infrastructure, but not enough. We're going to crack the pace on there. A lot happening there. We're daylighting streams all over Auckland. We've from Takanini with the Puhanui stream right through to the Oakley Creek out there by Carrington. We're managing our waste better and investing better there, shifting to a more circular economy. Community recycling centres are proving hugely popular. And of course, every tonne that goes there is a tonne that's not going to landfill. And we are also, Auckland is creating quality spaces for people, as you've seen in the city centre, the waterfront. We're embarking on a big waterfront reveal in the coming couple of years leading up to the America's Cup. We're enlivening our waterfronts from the Waitemata waterfront right across to the Onehunga waterfront, and we'll have a key announcement on the Onehunga waterfront in the next few weeks. And from communities of Avondale right through to Manukau, and if Takapuna is willing, we'll even revitalise that place as well. So I think you know what I mean, don't you? All developments that Panuku are undertaking, they're our placemaking and regeneration agency, and it's not about financial deliverables, it's about strategic, human-focused outcomes that we ask of them. They're working to a Homestar standard and to deliver healthier and more efficient homes where they're delivering homes. And we are challenging climate change on all fronts now. We've just confirmed with our CCOs a requirement to address climate change in everything they do. It's paramount. And they got a unique letter on that from the Mayor's office via Ross and myself only 3 months ago on that. So we're a member of the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group, and Mayor Phil has been over there. He's absolutely committed to, and we are all committed to, creating green and healthy streets, fossil fuel-free streets. Part of that declaration, we're shifting our bus fleet to electric and decarbonising the city centre. Last year, C40 bestowed upon Auckland their coveted International Waste Award. So we're winning on a few international fronts as well, but we need to continue to learn. We're doing reasonably well, but we're just out of the starting blocks. We just want to be best technical experts in the world at that, working with the best technical experts in the world, the practitioners and the city leaders. So today marks 2 weeks since the launch of engagement on Government's Zero Carbon Bill and Auckland's Climate Action Plan. You can get involved by providing input on that, and to the government, of course. We welcome that. One thing I'd like to mention today as an intro is a statement of coming up, I think 10 or 11 months ago. 10 months ago, I think it was, our Prime Minister called climate change my generation's nuclear-free moment. I think it's struck a chord with many of us. It really sat in my memory very, very strongly. At that time, it was a bit of a catchphrase, and it was repeated with probably not a lot of understanding. And the government have now committed to the Climate Commission, and James Shaw is leading a whole body of work, and I'm absolutely confident that we're going to see some real change come out of that. But for me, I went back to that nuclear-free moment. I was, I think, late teens or something like that, or I won't tell you. I recall that moment anyway, and it was early 70s. That's what Jacinda Ardern was referring to. And my strongest memory of that moment, I started to reflect, and I remembered a big Norm Kirk, the then Prime Minister, and this nation, this small nation, big little nation, bottom of the world, sailing 2 frigates with a cabinet minister aboard to the edge of the Murara blast zone. That's what she was referring to. So it wasn't a catchphrase, it had meaning behind it. It meant we've got to be bold, we've all got to step up, the leadership at the top echelon has got to step up, and all the leaderships, Auckland Council, leaderships of companies, and leadership within families, leadership of individuals, we all have to step up. That's what happened back in the 70s. Everybody stepped up. That action of Norm Kirk summoned the nation, and it summoned the attention of the world. The big little New Zealand down the bottom of the world shifted from stand by to stand up and act. And that's what we need to do on climate change. And I'm sure that's what Jacinda is referring to. And the results immediately followed. One of the greatest challenges of our time, the G20 leaders have said of climate change. This is our generation's moment. In our time, and it's of our making, climate change is upon us, and we have no choice but to deal with it. And that change is not limited to what we often think is the weather, droughts, coastal inundation maybe. It is also about species extinction, large-scale crop failures, rampaging new diseases. It's about volatile financial markets, and it's also about the risk of armed conflict and mass migrations. And if you think the migrations that arrived on Germany's border and the other European nations was related to just conflict, think again. It was related to climate changes in Syria over about 3 years. And that put people into the cities, people into conflict, and then armed conflict and people on the move. So that is a pretty dark taste of one side of climate change. But none of us are immune, and I want to emphasise that. So to all of you tonight, thank you for coming along to hear Matt, who's going to enlighten us now, for taking the time to care about this very important topic for Auckland and the nation, to get involved, get off our backsides and do something about it. This evening will prove enjoyable, I'm sure, and very interesting. But really, my invitation to you is make it productive. So make it productive rather than just enjoying and interesting means to tune in tonight and take 1 or 3 takeaways from tonight and look at how you can take those takeaways out of this room tonight and take action, be it in your personal self, family, workplace, or the city. So, ngā mihi and kia ora mai, thank you everybody, and we'll welcome Matt.